Hey folks, we are continuing our journey through the top 15 topics for DevOps and SRE that you should be ready for uh, before your interview for such a role. I've got these 15 topics based on my research on LinkedIn job descriptions, and they are sorted. So the number one is, for example, is cloud in general, and number 15 is system design. So not everything is equally important. The topics at the top are more important than the topics at the bottom. However, for you to be successful in your role, you really should have a basic understanding of these 15 things that make up what DevOps is today, right? So today's topic is Scrum. Scrum is basically an agile method to run projects. Because you would be most likely to be part of one or more projects as a DevOps or SRE person, you should know how that works. So before I get to the question though, please subscribe to my channel. That motivates me to do more videos for you folks every day, and that gets you more and more questions every day. Okay, so question number 117 on the topic of Scrum. How do you integrate SRE practices into Scrum frameworks to ensure that both operational excellence and feature delivery are balanced within the team? First of all, what is this question about in real life, right? What happens in real life is there's a pressure to deliver new things to the customer, right? New features, new bug fixes, new whatever. The pressure for that is generally stronger than making sure that everything is operable. Everything that goes live has scaling, has high availability, is easily recoverable from a problem. There are no single point of failures. We have enough monitoring and alerting. We have enough processes in place to make sure that we can recover quickly. All of these things are sometimes secondary to going live with the next big thing, right? So there's always this pressure. But you as a DevOps person, you as a SRE, know that if you yell to that pressure all the time, you're going to end up with lots of tech debt. You're going to end up with a lot of personal problems in production. It's going to take you longer and longer to fix problems in production. Your incident recovery time is going to go up. You're not going to have enough monitoring, so that you're going to have a longer a mean time to detect, so on and so forth. It becomes a real problem to do your job if you're not careful about prioritizing some of these other things that the project manager or the product people may not know about, right? So you have to educate them. So how do you do that? So in Scrum, you have sprints, like, sometimes generally there's sometimes 2 weeks, sometimes three, rarely they're 1 week, but there's cycles where you first figure out what you're going to work on the next sprint, and you work on them, and then in the retrospective, you see what gone well, what did not go well. So when you do the planning, you have to make sure these tasks that has to do with tech debt, has to do with operability, has to do with scalability, and all the other pillars of DevOps, right? Those tasks are first-class citizens. They're just as important as feature delivery, right? It is a high-order task. It is a difficult task to do because, again, the pressure for going live with new features is generally stronger than these things. But you have to be the one vouching. You have to be the one advocating for these tasks to be put on the sprint, and then including them and making them same priority as the feature development, so that you don't end up with tech debt. So, and when you're planning, and if the planning doesn't include these things, you should point out that you're creating tech debt that you're going to eventually have to pay off. So hopefully you succeed and these tasks are made part of the sprint. And even if you don't succeed, you make the point that at some point we have to make these things priority, and these are the risks we're taking by not addressing them in the sprint, right? In the sprint retrospective, sometimes during the sprint, even though we said we were going to do this, we didn't do them because the feature work took more time and energy, right? So in the retrospective, you make sure that we improve these processes, we improve the culture of how we do things during the sprint and how we go live, right? So that process is a continuous improvement. No company is perfect in this, but there are companies who are lagging behind significantly, and there are companies that are closer to this goal, right? So it's your job to make sure that you educate all the stakeholders to make sure that these kind of tasks are part of the sprint planning, execution, and retro. I hope you found this video useful, and I will see you in the next one.